Okay, here's some solutions for problem set 5. Let's look at problem 1. Problem 1 says, imagine you have a dog class and a dog object named Fido with a lowercase f. Fido has two methods, so you can say fido.run, and it'll make Fido run, and you can ask fido.isTired, and that method will return true if Fido is tired and false otherwise. Okay, so the situation here is, I'm not asking you to make a new class. The dog class already exists, I'm saying. The dog object already exists. All I'm asking you to do is use the methods that you're imagining have already been created. So for example, here I've got a circle class, so I've created a circle object C1, and you can say stuff like C1.setRadius. That's doing something with the object. So here would be a solution for problem 4. I didn't actually say, alright, so I could say dog Fido equals new dog. I didn't actually say to instantiate the dog object. I didn't say to create a new dog object. I implied that Fido already exists, so you could leave that out. That would be okay. Let's see what we're trying to do. We're trying to say write a loop that will, okay, I don't even need to read the sentence any further. Write a loop. So I know it's going to look something like this with a for loop. Okay. That will make Fido run until he gets tired. Okay. False alarm. It shouldn't be a for loop, it should be a while loop. Because I want to keep running as long as something is true. So I want to keep running as long as Fido.isTired is not true. So I would say not Fido.isTired. Because as long as Fido isn't tired, I want to continue doing what's inside the loop. So while Fido is not tired, I want him to run. So how do I make Fido run? I say Fido.run. Like that. So now, reading this in English, I create Fido. I say while it is not true that Fido.isTired, then Fido will run. I should put a variable in the loop that counts how many times you had to tell Fido to run until he got tired. Alright, let's put a variable in there. So I'm going to call it count, and it starts at 0. And then inside the loop, I'll say count++, so that will increment count by 1. And then afterwards, I'll say system.out.println, Fido had to run count times. Okay, this would be a great answer to question 1. Okay, try this. If that problem you misunderstood, try this problem. This will be similar to problem 1, only it'll be slightly more involved. So take the circle class from the videos that I made last time. It looks like this. And I want you to make 2 additions. I want you to add a method called setRandomRadius that takes an integer as an input. And it should set the circle's radius to have a random radius between 1 and n, including the values 1 and n. Notice that radius should be a double, so even though it takes an int as an input, the random radius that you select for your circle should be a double. So you should use math.random. Okay, second, inside the circle class, you should add a method called isAreaLargeEnough, which will return true if the area of your circle is at least 10 times as large as the circumference of your circle. Otherwise, it should return false. So these 2 methods you're adding inside the circle class. Alright, so you're not actually doing anything with the circle class yet. You're just adding new behaviors to the circle. So now, create a tester class, and you can call it main or call it whatever you want. And you should do the following. You should create a new circle object in a variable called C. So that's instantiating the circle class. So you'd say circle C equals new circle. Now, this is similar to problem 1. Write a loop that's going to set the random radius over and over and over again. So it's going to use the circle's setRandomRadius method. And you should have an input of 25. So you're repeatedly setting the circle to have a random radius between 1 and 25. And you should continue to do this until the circle's radius is large enough that the isAreaLargeEnough method returns true. So it's going to be a while loop, very similar to the last one. Finally, put a counter variable inside the loop to count how many times you had to loop before isAreaLargeEnough was true. And then finally, display some stuff. So display the number of times this was required. Okay, good luck.